Hey everybody, Chris here. Dogecoin started off 2026 with a nice 35% rally. We had a little bit of a pullback yesterday. I'll tell you why that happened, but how can Dogecoin continue that rally going forward? We're going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. We've been watching Bitcoin and Dogecoin and the price performance over the past few days, how there's a little manipulation going on. We also had big start for memes, other memes like Pepe and Bonk and a bunch of others. We've been watching those in the live streams. You always gotta check out my live streams as well. I start every day, usually around 4 o'clock p.m. East Coast time. I know that time doesn't work for everybody, but we do have a lot of fun. And we expand out our conversations about the crypto market, finances, even how you're doing financially. I like to hear how everybody's doing right now, but here, what is going to take Dogecoin to get this rally kicked back into gear and going up higher? Let's get into it. Let me show you the charts in the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. And we start here with the current Dogecoin chart, 14.75. That's right, 1475. We tried overnight to get past 15.4 again. That is solid resistance. And I know yesterday morning, on Tuesday morning, we had this big run up over 15.4, and then Dogecoin came crashing down all the way down to 14.3. Why did that happen? Well, we talked about that during the live stream yesterday. Bitcoin, that's right, Bitcoin had the same move. The market makers taking over from all of the relief rally buying we had since the tax loss harvesting that ended 2025. A lot of people selling everything that they were underwater on, even though they made some profits earlier in 2025. Sold some at the end in order to offset some of those capital gains taxes, right? And now, since prices were low, right? Doge was down to 11.6, right? 11 cent Dogecoin. There was a lot of buying. The buying continued from January 1st all the way to the 5th. And then on the 6th, what happened? The market makers, the exchanges were actually taking out shorts as retail was buying, bringing the prices up, right? We can look on this Bitcoin chart, we can zoom out and we can see that happening, right? There it is from January 1st. That is a relief rally, my friends, right there. And that is what I predicted would happen with this white line. But then guess what happened here on Tuesday? The big dump wasn't Monday. No, Monday still had some good positive trading going up. It was Tuesday where the market maker said, okay, let's take out the rest of these new shorts coming, the new shorts coming in, right? We'll take those out because they said, well, maybe Bitcoin topped here on Monday, and then there was some profit taking, perhaps, but also shorting. A lot were shorting Bitcoin, not believing this rally. So prices started coming down. What did the market makers do on Tuesday? They pumped the price up. They can do that in this kind of condition where there is retail buying going on, but then they dump it. They dump it to take out all those leverage longs and then, right, bring the price back up, take out some of the new shorts and back down again. So the market makers, exchanges are taking control of the market. That's what's going on. This was Bitcoin, and we had the same with Doge. We had the same with Ethereum, right? Same thing. We were looking at all of this on during our live stream yesterday on how all of that was manipulated, and we end up with looking at CoinGlass here, this liquidation heat map over the past 24 hours. Over $460 million of liquidations happened through that. 68% on the long side. Of course, they were taking out, right, both longs and shorts, right? These degen leverage traders coming back into the market in the new year and now starting to hop on the train, whether it's long or short, whichever direction they believe the crypto market is going to go, and it's kind of bouncing up and down. So I would expect we would see more of this up and down action going forward as the open interest, as they call it, continues going forward. Here's Doge, $12.8 million alone in Doge, $8 million on longs, $4 million on shorts liquidated in the past 24 hours. So what's going on in terms of the news? Well, Bitcoin rejecting at 94,000 resistance level. Printed the first red daily candle of the year. So we had 5 nice green candles, right? We were looking for that 6th green candle. Didn't happen. It was red. It dumped 3% at the New York Open yesterday, falling from 94.3 to 91.2. Bullish news hit. MSCI decided not to remove strategy from its index. That was kind of a big thing, and MicroStrategy stock pre-market is already up 4% today, so that's going to be good for MicroStrategy. I think anything below on MicroStrategy, like this, what I call the 69 level, right, is probably a good entry point for that MicroStrategy stock. It went down to 59, almost 54, right? But that could turn around, and we could see MicroStrategy start to move. Bitcoin pumped 2% on the news, but it's sitting back at 92. Will Bitcoin push above and break 94K today, or will we see another fat rejection at the U.S. market open? So that's what Lark is looking at as a pretty solid resistance level. And I take that and I use, for Dogecoin 15.4 as the same resistance type of line. So that's what I'm looking at. Mr. Crypto says, look, the exact same setup created a massive bull trap last cycle. If the 4-year cycle is still in play, Bitcoin can easily dump to about 40K in a few months. If that happens, I will count my blessings and buy lots of Bitcoin. So this is what I've been talking about, guys. If I believe the 4-year cycle is still in play, we see a relief rally, which is, he's calling a bull trap. After 2021, we had this big double top, right? And then this was after, this was after October. This was November 2021. It was October 2025. Then we had the pullback, right? We had the pullback, and then we get a relief rally. We had that relief rally in 2022, and then a dump. Could we see the same thing happening? Is this the same kind of relief rally in 2026, and then followed by a dump? And would it dump as much? I mean, we had the whole Luna crash, remember, in 2022, which began a whole sequence of black swan events that dumped the Bitcoin price. Will we see that same type of thing? So this is his fractal here, showing what that could look like. I don't think it's going to be that deep. Again, Bitcoin, larger market cap, we're going to see less volatility in percentage gains and losses is what I believe. But this is the kind of pattern, probably not to this extreme, that I expect, unfortunately, for 2026. Those would be the 4-year cycles, and it would be bear market 2026. We have Bitcoin Census kind of saying the same thing. Basically, look, we've got the distribution up here. When the 120s hit an all-time high, 126.3, early October, and then this is what we would see in as a bull trap, right? You start to see a little run, you get a little bull trap, and then the market dumps back down, what he calls markdown. And that comes from the Wyckoff market cycle thing here. So if you want to look at Wyckoff as well, there's a similar pattern here. Looking at the previous 2021-2022 cycle transition into a bear market, we can see that we are in a very similar scenario. Same timing, same market structure, sentiment is a bit different. Anything's possible, not financial advice, of course. As always, we're just looking at the patterns, right? We could see that. For news, Rumble just announced they launched, well, it wasn't just Bitcoin tipping, right? It was Tether, right? Tether and Bitcoin on Rumble, tipping to its 70 million users. So this is the new news. And I'm like, who's going to use Bitcoin for tipping? Rumble should have picked Dogecoin, a much better tipping cryptocurrency, right? It's just like, duh, right? Nobody's going to be using Bitcoin for tipping on Rumble. Who's going to do that? But if it was Doge, that would have been so much better. But no, that's the news we have. Yeah. That's the news we have. And Guy Coin Bureau says, look, Elon Musk once said Dogecoin has much higher potential than Bitcoin. Why? Because he also said Dogecoin is the best transactional cryptocurrency. Now, for me, I think Elon Musk knows what he's talking about, right? PayPal, right? And now X Money. is he going to back up that statement that he made a few years ago? He's going to back that up and include Doge into X money, because that would be the move, right? If he believes that, right, and he said it here, you can check me out on X. I'm at ChrisPax. So follow me on X here, where I post a lot of bangers, right, when I'm not here on YouTube. But that's what he said. And it's like, let's back it up, Elon. Come on, let's back it up. Let's see it. Let's see it. So what about catalysts that Dogecoin price rally could continue in 2026, right? We got a lot of negative stuff, a lot of, the whole leverage thing. We got the whole bear market like thing. But what could sustain a Dogecoin price rally? Well, we've got inflows into Doge ETFs. Now, here's BTC says, look, Bitwise and Grayscale's funds have recorded net inflows on 2 of the 3 trading days this year. Well, I go to the data and I say, well, it was actually not Bitwise. Bitwise is still none, right? This is all, these 2 days here, January 2nd, January 5th, 2.3 million, 1.6 million, that was all Grayscale. That was all Grayscale. Now $7 million of net inflows for Grayscale. Bitwise is negative because they had funded somehow, and there was a outflow. So it's negative. But Grayscale's doing well. I mean, not XRP well, right? A lot of money going into XRP ETFs. The Dogecoin ETFs are going to come, but they need Dogecoin's price to be rocketing up to get that attention. You need that FOMO. But hey, there's some, right? There is some coming up. So I don't give this this whole thing about Dogecoin ETFs being something that contribute to a sustained Dogecoin price rally. I think that's going to follow the rally. You need the rally first. Now, we did have the 2X 21 shares Dogecoin ETF. It has had the best start to the year among all ETFs, up almost 40%. We talked about that yesterday. It's like, that's pretty cool, right? So anybody buying ETFs, it's like, well, let's do a 2X. Let's do a leveraged ETF. Now, the leveraged ETFs don't show on this chart. This is only spot ETFs that this SoSo-Value website tracks. So it's not tracking the 2X leverage that this 21 shares is. But there's some buying going on there, that's for sure. Furthermore, activity in the derivatives market also supports a sustained rally for Dogecoin price. CoinGlass data shows that traders on top exchanges such as Binance and OKX are currently long. The long-short ratio is over 2. That means there's a lot of positive sentiment with the degen leverage traders, which is trouble to me because that just means the market makers are going to have more incentive to drop the price to take out that leverage. If it's 2-to-1, long to short, I don't see it as a positive. It's a huge positive. And I'm like, really? Not in a market that's still kind of wobbly and the market makers are taking control. So that's not great. Crypto analyst Zip states in an X post that on the daily chart, the Dogecoin price is currently reacting to a local resistance around 15. I say 15.4, right? Further remarked that if the 15.4 resistance breaks, the next zone that the Doge price may aim for is around 24 cents. So that's awesome, but we got to get there first. We got to get through that 15.4. We got to get into and through our red box that I've been tracking. Like we look at that on my live streams again. And then the purple box, which is at like 20 cents. We got to get in there first. So you can talk all the fib lines all you want, but you need the catalyst, right? And just market structure, looking at prices and fibs and reverse head and shoulders and cups and handles and all of that. You need the news, right? You need the big news to make that rally happen. And could it be something like X money, Elon saying something, doing something? That's kind of what Doge needs now. I had this whole discussion yesterday with Grok about robo-taxis and Tesla merch store and the other catalysts that could get Dogecoin to move up, and that would be one of them. So let's see how that all plays out. So that's what we have for today. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about the Dogecoin rally so far in 2026. And can we continue? Are we looking for this big move up going forward from here? Get this relief rally, kick back into gear, get over this 15.4 resistance line. Again, we've been hitting it a number of times already this year. Had one little break above. And then the market makers just, I think they pushed it up at the stock market open yesterday and dumped it. Now I'm recording this before the Wednesday stock market open. Could we see that kind of action again? I would expect it. We will follow up on my next live stream Wednesday afternoon, 4:00 p.m. East Coast time. Come join in. Give the video a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.